Morning. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board and State and Community Corrections to order and welcome you all to our first offsite meeting in quite some time. And I want to thank all of the board members and all of the participants and stakeholders that have joined us here. We appreciate your efforts. We have the good fortune of having Supervisor Capps on our board, and she was, along with her staff, invaluable in facilitating us getting here. We're going to go back on the record at the meeting of the Board and State and Community Corrections, and we had done some welcoming and thank yous. And I think Supervisor Capps, if you had anything to add to the welcome visit, we're happy to hear from you.
We are just grateful that you're all here in Santa Barbara, and we hope we can do this again.
Okay, and rolling along, we do have some board members attending virtually in a public place. That would be Chief Branning and Judge Guard. We welcome both of you here. I have not seen Chief Scott yet. Thank you to IT staff Santa Barbara. Appreciate you for doing all that. Big deal. I am not going to wear you out with more welcomes and thank yous. We're going to move right along to the agenda, and we'll begin appropriately with me correcting myself in that I said that Judge Guard and Chief Banning and Chief Scott were in a public place. They are not, but they are with us. Does that help you, Aaron?
Yes, thanks for that clarification, Madam Chair.
Joanna, will you take some time and present on how to join us virtually or make public comment virtually?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. We are meeting both in person and virtually, and we will support public participation during the meeting through the Zoom webinar platform. Members in the room, please remember to state your name before making a comment so that those participating remotely may know who is speaking. For those participating remotely, in order to optimize the listening experience, the BSCC recommends you use headphones while listening to the meeting. If you wish to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or physically raise your hand so we can see you. Regarding voting, all agenda items that require a vote will require a roll call vote at the end of each agenda item. Board members in the room, please remember to turn off your microphones when you are not speaking, and please remember to speak into your microphone so that all on Zoom may hear you. Members of the public, we will give the members of the public the opportunity to comment after the presentation of each agenda item and prior to the board voting on an item. You will have 2 minutes for your comment. After your 2 minutes have ended, I will verbally let you know, and you may watch the screen where we will display the 2-minute timer. We encourage anyone wishing to make a public comment on Zoom to raise their hand at the start of each agenda item being discussed. Members of the public will not have the ability to unmute yourself during discussion until the chair opens it up for public comment. You must raise your hand on Zoom or send the request to publiccomment@bscc.ca.gov. This is also available on our website. If you've sent in a request through the public comment email box, I will call on the email address or identifier you provided in your email. If you are calling by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, dial *6 to unmute yourself. I will call on those who have raised their hands and those who have emailed your request to speak, and I will ask you to unmute yourself. If your comment aligns with another speaker, please feel free to associate your comment with the prior speaker. Thank you for your patience and understanding as we work to ensure all speakers can be heard. Agenda item 5 is the opportunity for any member of the public to make a comment on any agenda item or other comments in general. We will call the members on Zoom first, then the members here in Santa Barbara. Public participants in the room, please complete a public comment card located at the table behind me and provide it to me during the meeting. As a reminder, you may follow along and view the list of those in the public comment queue by visiting www.bscc.ca.gov and clicking the link for the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. And would you take the roll, please?
Chair Penner.
Present.
Mr. McCumber and Mr. Bishop will be absent today. Sheriff Taylor.
Present.
Sheriff Clark.
Present.
Supervisor Capps.
Present.
Chief Haynes.
Here.
Chief Branning.
Here.
Judge Guard.
Here.
Chief Scott.
Here.
Mr. Bednick.
Here.
Ms. Zaragoza.
Here.
Ms. Kumpian.
Here.
Dr. Lai. Here. And Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to the information item portion of the agenda, we will refrain from the chair's report and go directly to the executive director's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the outset, I just want to flag an item on our agenda. We currently have as item F, a determination of suitability for Campus Kilpatrick. I just want to note at the outset, and especially for people who might be waiting for this item online, that there is a change of recommendation for that item right now. Previously, we were recommending a finding of unsuitability for Camp Kilpatrick. The staff recommendation when we get to that report will be that that we're going to recommend deferring that item. The state fire marshal was out at Campus Kilpatrick yesterday and issued a temporary occupancy permit late last night. So that item is changing, and we'll get to that. We're still planning to present on that item, Madam Chair. Other items, a few updates from our grants division. Just want to note that the federal administration, President Trump has released his federal fiscal year 27 budget request proposal. We would anticipate seeing, and again, it's just a proposal, but he proposes some increases to the burn JAG funding, and we'll have a brief update about JAG in a second. An elimination of community violence intervention grant funding at the federal level, and preliminarily, it looks like what was the bipartisan burn skip grant program that we are administering. That was one-time funding, and all indications are that that program will not be renewed going forward. As I mentioned, an additional note on the JAG funding, there were some additional terms and conditions that were put into that grant application. Working with the California Department of Justice, we're reviewing those terms and conditions. We have applied for that grant, but we are preserving and submitted a reservation of rights with that grant application, so that if the state wants to take further action with respect to those additional terms and conditions that were included in that grant, we're prepared to do so. An update on CalVIP. You may remember at the last board meeting that there were an unprecedented amount of proposals submitted for CalVIP. And in fact, we were not able to fund 90% of the proposals that were submitted. Understandably, many grant applicants were a little distraught about the outcome of that competitive process. The grant staff and others met with many of the applicants as part of a listening session. We are taking in some of their concerns and some of their ideas. They will circle back to us, and we hope to have some additional thoughts when we put out the next RFP for CalVIP in future years. Quick update on Prop 64 grant funding. We have 125 million available. Just to let you know, that application period has closed. We received a total of 84 applications requesting 241 million out of the available 125 million. Those grants will be used for law enforcement, fire protection, or other local public programs. Out of the 84 applications we received, 65 have indicated that they will be pursuing public safety, interdiction, and illicit cannabis enforcement efforts. Those awards will be brought to for your consideration at the June board meeting, with the program and grant awards to begin on July 1st. Our general counsel, Lamai, will be providing a legal update on Los Angeles. As part of the legal update, I wanted to flag some of other updates, just the factual updates with respect to what's been going on with our inspections in Los Angeles, and also wanted to flag for the board at this time that we have closed session on the agenda. We are recommending not to go into closed session today. Also, in part, I think that would be wise given some of the technology issues that we've had today, but we don't think closed session will be necessary today. First off, I want to do a brief update on the Bear J. Niner SYTF. The county submitted a corrective action plan for 8 items of noncompliance identified during the December 25th targeted inspection. CAP was approved March 16th. The board will be considering that final approval of that CAP today, and we'll be getting to that. Moving to an update on the juvenile hall, that facility at Barry J. Nider. That facility currently remains unsuitable. The county submitted a corrective action plan for the 12 items of non-compliance, and the board will be considering that final approval of that cap today. As I previously touched on with Camp Kilpatrick, update for Camp Kilpatrick. We made an unannounced site visit to that facility on March 1st. The inspection team identified 4 items of non-compliance, and an inspection report was provided to the county on April 10th. The county must submit an additional corrective action plan by June 9th. Items of non-compliance, in addition to the fire issues that are in the report today, include items of non-compliance include issues related to staffing, use of force, use of restraints, and programs recreation and exercised. Also want to do a quick update. We also made an unannounced site visit to Los Padrinos on March 8th. This was not a formal inspection. It was more of a site visit to check in on progress being made at that facility. Overall, the condition, there were some improvements that staff noted, and speaking with youth and other staff members at the facility, it appears that youth are at least getting more program recreation exercise than they had been previously. We have not set a formal reinspection for that site just yet, but I wanted to just update you on the conditions of that. And with that, given the time, I think I will then turn it over to Lamai for additional legal updates.
Thank you. Lamai?
Good morning, everyone. There are 3 pending litigation matters that currently relate to the Los Angeles County Juvenile Detention Facilities. The first matter is County of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County Probation Department versus Board of State and Community Corrections. This is the matter in which Los Angeles County is seeking a writ of mandamus to vacate the BSCC's unsuitability determination of Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. There are no new updates in this case. The trial setting conference is currently scheduled for May 7th, 2026. The second matter is In re Brandon D. This is the habeas case before Judge Espinoza regarding Los Angeles County's depopulation plan of Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. The next order to show cause hearing is April 24th, 2026. The BSCC will submit a status update to the court likely tomorrow. And the third matter, State of California versus Los Angeles County. This is the case involving the California Attorney General's office seeking a receivership to oversee the Los Angeles facilities. The BSCC previously filed a motion for leave to file a friend of the court brief to adjust our inspection findings on March 25th, 2026. The court heard arguments on our motion and denied our motion to participate as friend of the court, finding that the California Attorney General's office sufficiently represented our agency's interests. The court has held 10 order to show cause hearings so far, and the next hearings are scheduled May 8th and the 14th, 2026. Those are the updates on those matters. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Yeah, I'd actually open all of the items covered in the information portion of the agenda to board members for any questions or comments. It was a lot of information. I know we got a late start, but please feel free to ask if you have anything of concern or you need to know more about. Okay, seeing none. Looking to the public comment on any of the issues we've addressed previously. Anyone in the room wish to speak on any of the matters covered? Do we have anybody in the virtual world?
Madam Chair, I'm seeing no public comment at this time.
Okay, I think we will then move on to the action item portion of this event. Strike that consent item portion of the event. Looking to see if anyone on the board or in the audience wishes to pull any items from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, this is Chief Haynes in Fresno. I don't have anything to pull, but I do need to recuse myself on item B under consent.
And Madam Chair, same with me.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, same with me.
Thank you. Council, may these people stay in the room during this recusal?
They may stay in the room, but they cannot participate in the
Great.
discussion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Janet Guard. I need to recuse on D, the Corrective Action Plan 1, Los Angeles County.
Thank you. Any further recusals? Seeing none, I think for the record, those individuals may stay in the room. They may not comment or vote on any items on the consent agenda. Looking to see if anyone in the public wishes to pull an agenda item on the consent agenda. Anybody virtually reaching out to pull an item?
Madam Chair, there is no virtual.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would suggest, I think we can take up items A and C together on the consent calendar in one motion, and then we'll bifurcate the votes for B and D1.
I'll make a motion to approve items A and C on the consent agenda.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Joanna?
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor,
Aye.
Sheriff Clark,
Aye.
Supervisor Capps.
Just point of clarification, if I needed to recuse, then we don't vote.
So
then
this is, we're going to do A and C. So
I'm
we'll take
sorry.
up
I
B.
apologize.
We'll take up B, and then you'll recuse on B.
Apologize. Aye.
Chief Haynes.
Aye.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Judge Guard,
Aye.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Mr. Budnick. Ms. Zaragoza,
Aye.
Ms. Kumpian,
Norma?
Yes. Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm not telling you how to vote.
Dr.
No.
Halai,
Thank you. Aye.
and Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, the motion passes for A and C.
Thank
Can
you,
we
thank
call
you.
can we call Mr. Budnick one more time?
Oh, Mr. Budnick.
Aye.
No.
Not this one.
Not on these two.
Thank you, Joanne.
Aye.
Okay. Madam Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to items B and D, where there will be abstentions. Noted for the record. May I have a motion and a second for approval of item B and C?
I'm sorry. B
D.
Sorry. B and D1.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Joanna?
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor.
Aye.
Sheriff Clark,
Abstain.
Supervisor Capps,
Abstain.
Chief Haynes,
Abstain.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Judge Guard,
And I say aye on 3B and recuse on D1? Or is that too complicated?
I think we can record that. So I on B and
On-
recused on D1.
Yes.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Mr. Budnick,
Abstain.
Ms. Zaragoza,
Aye.
Ms. Kumpian,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion passed. The motion, oh my God,
It carries.
Carrie, sorry.
Okay, moving along. I do have a question. Item D2 is still the outlier, correct?
Yes.
Looking for a motion and a second on item D2.
I'll move D2.
Second, please. Second. Thank you. Joanna?
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor,
Aye.
Sheriff Clark,
Aye.
Supervisor Capps,
Aye.
Chief Haynes,
Aye.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Judge Guard,
Aye.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Mr. Budnick,
Aye.
Ms. Zaragoza,
Aye.
Ms. Kumpian,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to our discussion items. Item E, determination of suitability. Orange County Probation, we're requesting approval on this item. I believe council will be presenting on this item. Limai Lyons here for us. Would you like to go to the dais or would you like to do it from your chair?
I'd like to do it for my chair if that's
There's always
okay.
choices in life. We will allow you to stay in your chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This agenda item requests that the board make a determination of suitability within the meaning of Welfare and Institutions Code 209 subdivisions A, 4, and D for the following facilities in Orange County and find that they are suitable for the confinement of juveniles. Orange County Juvenile Hall, Youth Guidance Center, and Youth Leadership Academy. Some background for you. During the 2025-2026 biennial inspection cycle, BSCC staff conducted comprehensive inspections of the 3 facilities in Orange County on July 27th and September 11th, 2025. These inspections identified 8 areas of noncompliance for the Juvenile Hall and Youth Leadership Academy and 7 areas of noncompliance for the Youth Guidance Center. The BSCC approved the corrective action plans on November 11th, and on February 10th, Orange County Probation verified that all corrective actions had been completed. BSCC staff conducted a follow-up inspection on March 2nd through the 6th of this year to verify completion of that CAP. BSCC staff were able to verify that the 3 facilities corrected and were in compliance with the majority of the CAP, but 2 items remained for the Juvenile Hall and the Youth Leadership Academy, and 1 item remained for the Youth Guidance Center. And those areas were room confinement and discipline. Because Orange County Probation did not complete the CAP for all sections of the Title 15 by February 9th, which was the maximum resolution date, the board is required to make a determination if the facilities are suitable for the confinement of juveniles. However, we note that Orange County has been very proactive in remedying all of these areas of noncompliance. They requested technical assistance from BSCC staff and communicated throughout the corrective process. Since being notified of the suitability determination hearing, Orange County has been able to correct the 2 outstanding areas, room confinement and discipline. And this was verified by BSC staff during a reinspection on April 1st through the 3rd of this year. A summary of our April reinspection findings are provided in the board report. All 3 facilities demonstrated significant improvements in documentation across previously identified areas of concern. We observed strong quality control measures, increased oversight, and targeted training efforts to ensure staff understanding and compliance with those new policies. We note that the facilities will receive an unannounced inspection and targeted inspection before the end of this calendar year to ensure continued progress and compliance. Therefore, the staff recommends that the board make a determination of suitability within the meaning of Welfare and Institutions Code, Section 209, Subdivision D, for the Juvenile Hall, Youth Leadership Academy, and Youth Guidance Center, and find that the 3 facilities are suitable for the confinement of juveniles. Does anyone have any questions?
Prior to that, I think we do have someone that would like to present on the issue from Orange County. I believe Chief Hernandez is with us. There was a recusal on this issue, and that would be Judge Guard. Note.
I'm sorry, no.
Okay, thank you. Chief Hernandez, I'd invite you to come forward and present. Thank you for being here. And you can, oh, you already know. Why am I telling you?
Good morning, Chair Penner, Honorable Board. My name is Daniel Hernandez. I'm the Chief Probation Officer for the Orange County Probation Department. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Orange County Probation Department is a large department of approximately 950 employees and operating these 3 juvenile facilities. We have a legacy of leading the way in corrections going back to the 1980s, where we commissioned the development of the very first risk needs assessment that was used in probation. In the 1990s, we led the industry in juvenile justice research with the 8% solution study that identified 5 risk factors shared by the most prolific juvenile offenders in Orange County. And with that research, it identified that only 8% of the youth in Orange County were committing 50% of the juvenile crime. That study also resulted in strategies that were designed to help reduce the risk of those most prolific juvenile offenders and created youth and family resource centers in our county. Again, this is back in the early 90s when this was revolutionary. Notably, those five risk factors were what are the beginning of what is now considered evidence-based practices, as those 5 risk factors are now still incorporated into what's known as the Big 8 criminogenic risk factors discussed in evidence-based practices today. In the 2000s, we partnered with the Annie Casey Foundation to adopt the principles of the Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative, which began our investment and focus on a youth-centered approach to juvenile justice. Over the past 17 years, we've been adopting more and more evidence-based interventions and dramatically increased our partnership with community-based organizations to bring credible messengers and trauma-informed practices to all levels of our juvenile interventions. I'm proud to share that we have gone from having over 1,000 youth in custody to now only having 138 today. And that's in a county of 3.3 million people. We're a one-of-a-kind agency when it comes to the DJJ realignment. We have 0 SYTF youth in our system. Through our great partnerships with the court, council, and community-based organizations, we've created a system that offers all youth every gold standard opportunity in our juvenile facilities and beyond. We created a realignment plan that leaves no youth behind. We apply our realignment funds to fill every known gap and provide first-class services to not only our SB 823 eligible youth, but I personally, as chief, commit to fund those services for every non-eligible youth. It's evidence that I believe that no youth should be denied an opportunity that a youth might have available to them outside of our facilities. These partnerships and commitments created a system where we only had 4 DJJ youth return to our county when DJJ closed. We only got 4 youth back because we had the trust of our court and council to keep those high-risk youth locally for decades. We've operated an in-custody sexual offender program for decades. We've had those DJJ-type youth in our facilities already and treated them locally because we could, and that's no accident. Some innovative things that have started in recent years are our very robust youth council program, where we have youth representing all the units in our facilities who represent the interests of the youth to us. They represent the needs and requests of and desires of the youth to management. And they have regularly scheduled meetings where they bring proposals to us for things that they want to request be changed or innovative ideas that they may have. They also organize monthly events for the entire facility where it creates a positive reinforcement environment where youth can participate in these activities designed by youth. And similarly, our staff or administration can bring ideas to the youth council, and the youth council can then take that back to their units and get their peers' feedback on those things. I'm very proud to share that 2 of our youth council members were just appointed to the statewide youth advisory board this week. It's just testament to what can be done with youth when they're given the resources, opportunity, and support in our facilities. We have a fully functioning auto shop and other vocational opportunities, in custody and online college track. I have dedicated the resources and funds to create 5 full-time transitional correctional officers. These are officers that are taken off the line to create case plans, to work with families, to work on the transitional needs of our youth throughout all the adults that are talking to them in our system, and also to help translate for their parents and other system collaborative partners for when the youth gets out. I've also dedicated 3 full-time correctional officers to work in our college occupational program. These are 8 total staff taken off the line to work on these new and innovative ideas. There's 3 full-time college and occupational staff help facilitate our youth who are attending college. They help tutor the youth, and it's my commitment that you can attend any class, any time of the day or night, and we will have staff and the hardware and the internet and the resources to do that. We're about to start a new performing arts program. We have a great relationship with several community-based organizations, such as Project Kinship, who run a Rebel Messenger reentry program, restorative circles in all of our units and all of our facilities. They provide peer mentorship, they are system navigators, and they also provide cognitive behavioral services. Just this week, our board approved the award of 3 contracts for an $8 million Prop 47 grant to expand police-based diversion in Orange County. We've been host to many tours of Sacramento legislators and OYCR this past year to demonstrate how successful juvenile facilities can be operated. Next week, I will be honored to accept a 2-year appointment as a UCI Center for Psychology Fellow. Share this background to let you know the platform from which we are leaping. The commitment that I not only have as chief, the commitment of our 950 employees to do the right thing. To deliver gold standard services to our youth. As we care about them, that's what we do. Proud to share that both Mr. Burton and Ms. have been to our facilities and have met our wonderful staff. And so it's not just the leadership or policy that makes things work. It is the caring and passion of the staff. Cook dinner with our youth, who sit down with them, who facilitate all these great programs, who work with them, parents, make sure that they are successful because they've seen the change with their own eyes. During her inspections, Lisa Southwell, our inspector, met with nearly 40 of our 138 youth. After our initial inspection, she said to a room full of my facility supervisors and managers, quote, "I spoke to your youth. They love you. They feel cared for and they feel safe." After her re-inspection, she said, quote, "I spoke to 2 youth in every unit in every facility. Not one had a negative thing to say about you. That is unheard of. In doing inspections all over the state for many years, only about 3 times have I heard such feedback from youth. They say they feel cared for, they feel safe." After a recent webinar where I presented on our place-based youth diversion process, which supports and funds community-based organizations to intervene immediately when youth is contacted by police for a non-custody offense, YSR Director Catherine Lucero said, "Having your voice lent a measure of practical implementation that was relevant for our audience, and particularly probation leadership. Based on the questions asked and the comments made, your segment was highly engaging. The audience was clearly moved by your leadership. We value your partnership and admire your commitment to our youth and communities." Well, I'd just like to share how we got here. You've heard of the notes in the inspection. I just wanted to share that the overwhelming contributing factor to why we are here today was a policy combination and revision process that we undertook for the past few years. We previously had 3 books of policies, 1 book for each one of our facilities. And at the noble recommendation of a previous BSCC inspector, we embarked on a years-long process to evaluate each policy for combination, update policies, and ultimately combine 3 policies into one. Identify which policies could remain untouched and which policies needed to be updated or were obsolete. Through this process, it's clear that there were areas of various policies that were inadvertently and regrettably modified or deleted, and written policy is the foundation of sound practice. Correct policy is of utmost importance to us, and as such, this issue was taken very seriously and has now been addressed. I'd like to share what has been done since this process was initiated to ensure that this experience is not repeated. First off, as you heard in the staff report, several enhancements have been made to quality assurance, oversight, and training. But what is coming is just this week, the Board of Supervisors in Orange County approved a contract with Lexipol for Orange County probation. This contracted policy management system will allow for better tracking, training, approval, and dissemination of policies. It will also enable more efficient staff acknowledgement. We will be dedicating a manager assigned to ensure ongoing Title 15 compliance and conduct regular quality assurance measures and make recommendations and needed updates in real time. I want to share that I happened to be the director at Juvenile Hall back in 2018 when the room confinement reform efforts were initiated in statute. And back at that time, we developed a 16-hour room confinement training to bring staff up to date on those new requirements. We will be reinstituting that 16-hour course for all staff and integrating it into our future juvenile correctional officer core courses to include law, regulation, policy, and practical application and documentation exercises. Just last week, we met with UCI to initiate a positive reinforcement training for all staff. We will also be developing a scope of work to contract to develop a research-based gold standard positive reinforcement system across all 3 facilities. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank our inspector, Lisa Southwell, for her guidance and technical assistance along the way. We appreciate the recommendation that we be found suitable, and we are absolutely suitable. We will remain compliant and suitable into the future. A combination of mostly policy updates due to this policy revision process we completed recently, and the difficult process of training nearly 300 staff across the various shifts proved to be a lot for this 90-day CAP process. The fact that we're now recommended to be suitable demonstrates it was never an issue of capability, commitment, or motivation. Orange County Probation is and forever will be a premier department invested in the success and well-being of the youth in our care. As you heard from an independent objective evaluator, Lisa Southwell, our youth told her they, quote, love us, they feel cared for, and they feel safe. And not one of the 1/3 of our youth she interviewed had a single negative thing to say about their experience in our juvenile facilities. I think that says it all. Thank you, and I welcome your vote that we be found suitable.
Thank you. We remain for a moment in case there are questions or comments from anyone on the board. Yes.
No questions. I just wanted to comment and say really impressive programs. And thank you. I really appreciate your coming here today to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
I do too.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief Hernandez, for your presentation and for the work that you've done to work alongside Ms. Southwell in getting to this point where your department and your facilities have been found in compliance. And it's just a testament to your leadership, to the dedication that I know that your staff have. It's conveyed in the feedback that we've gotten from staff. And with that, I would support and move for staff's recommendation.
Anybody else on the board?
I'll just jump in real quick. Chief, thank you for being here. I just want to say a couple things, and I know we got started late and I'm a talker, so I'll try to make it quick. So one of my favorite people that is in my life is Sheriff Don Barnes of Orange County. But I think now you're my new favorite
Oh,
police,
right.
law enforcement leader,
Happy to
in
hear.
Orange County. So sorry, Sheriff Barnes.
I will love to share that with him.
Yeah, I'll see him in a couple days, so I'm sure I'll hear about it. I just want to point out two things. One, what maybe a lot of people don't realize, and I think that I've had the pleasure of working with probation chiefs, like the ones on this board and others locally where I'm from, that really take this seriously and take it to heart. They take these non-compliant issues personally, and you're a great reflection that you took it seriously because you didn't have to come here to answer for anything. That could have been done outside of your presence. But the fact that you're here speaks volumes about you and your department. The second thing I want to point out to everybody is the sheer contrast of what we're seeing right now. Confining youth is not a pleasant topic. They're children. And I think what we're seeing here in a region of California of two completely contrasting attitudes and abilities and motivation. You're here even though you don't have to be here, answering for what happened and telling us what your solutions are. We've seen the absolute opposite of that. And this is the way it's supposed to work, right? I run a correctional facility as well. It's not nice to be found non-compliant, and it's not because that's what we are aiming for. But I will tell you, the staff is incredible to work with the technical support that they give us. And the fact that you've been able to quickly turn this around. It sounds like the youth have felt safe the entire time, but these are technical violations that you've corrected. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. And there's no reason that all 58 counties in this state can't do the exact same thing that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Chief. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to Santa Barbara. Thank you for being here. I want to just support the comments that have been made. And I just very much valued the earnestness in your comments, and particularly the youth councils that you've created. It just is incredible. I hope that you enjoy your time here. And, you know, our probation headquarters is just a block away from here. So welcome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very close with Chief Ben.
Oh, good. Good to hear that.
I haven't been in a while, but I just loved coming to your facilities. A lot of the youth I met a few years ago are out there doing really, really well. One of them is even in the camera union in my business, in the movie business, and I met him in Unit Tango in the juvenile hall. So hats off to you and your staff for quickly getting this together, and thanks for being here today.
I'd also like to jump in and echo what's already been said. Chief Hernandez and Chief Deputy Johnson, I've had the privilege of going to the facility recently and toured the facility and was able to engage with your young people there. And I can just say that, the OICR team, for weeks after that visit, we were talking about just how impressed we were with the work that you all are doing down there, and the young people, hearing from them directly. I'm not surprised that they said that they love you, because I saw the engagement with you and your leadership there. And it's just refreshing. It's beautiful to see your commitment to the young people that you serve. And also just hearing how you've laid out the way that you're addressing these issues. I'm relieved to hear that these issues of noncompliance have been remedied, but I'm not surprised given what I've seen. So thank you so much.
And I'm going to sound off myself. Let me begin by saying thank you to Lisa Southwell, to Steve Wicklander, and to our general counsel for the hard work they did and the heavy lift they did. To you, Chief, impressive presentation. I think it was a tutorial that all of us can use in these days and times. Factually, what you represented in the room today was what the partnership with the Board of State and Community Corrections and our chief probation officers across the state of California can do for each and every one of us. And I am delighted that you made the trip. You did not have to. You knew prior to this meeting that you were going to have a suitable recommendation. But thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking the time and the preparation to do that. And just on a little bit of a side note, I don't know how you get to become a UCI Distinguished Fellow. That's never happened in my life. So let me just congratulate you on that. That's quite
Thank you.
an impressive add to your resume. And with all that, seeing anybody else on the board, I'm now asking for members of the public that might want to comment on this particular item in the room. Seeing none, looking for comments, sorry, not issues, comments virtually.
Yes, we have one public comment, Mr. Yusuf Miller.
Sorry again?
We have one public comment, Yusuf Miller.
Okay, Yusuf, are you out there? You have 2 minutes?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Yusuf Miller, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And it's not often that I get to celebrate and praise law enforcement, but when that opportunity comes, I relish in it and I love it. I want to thank the chief that just spoke. And I didn't catch what county he represents because I think the community should know and help celebrate these kind of things as we're also putting oversight and the hammer to when things go wrong. This chief exemplifies as a model on what we should do throughout the county. I think the programs were so heartening to what he's done for the youth and all of his staff, what they've done for the youth, and the end product of those kinds of things. It reminds us proper education and proper motivation is the key to youth being reformed and redeemed. I think that the crimes of opportunity that they commit when they don't have any kind of a specialized training or specialized goals, this can be reduced if we had it in the community as well and not wait for us to have in the facilities. But we do, and I want to thank the chief for that. Please, if you can, re-mention the county that he's from. And I just want to celebrate and thank you for what you're doing for the youth there. And I hope it's a model for the entire state. Thank you.
Thank you. And the chief represents Orange County.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you for your remarks. Anyone further?
Yes, we have Helen Eigenberg.
Helen, are you ready to proceed? You have 2 minutes.
Helen Eigenberg.
Sorry. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. Good morning. It's Helen Eigenberg. I am a resident of Los Angeles County. And I just want to tell you how enheartening or just how amazing it is to sit here and listen to such positive comments coming about Orange County. I sit in a lot of BSCC meetings and Board of Supervisors in LA County, and I don't hear this a lot. And my hope is LA County will get to this place one day when we're all calling in to commend LA County on the fine job that they are doing, like they're doing in Orange County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There are no more public comments at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Back to the board. Any further comments, questions? I'm looking now for a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the recommendation in the report. Joanna?
Chair Penner.
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor.
Aye.
Sheriff Clark.
Aye.
Supervisor Capps. Chief Haynes.
Aye.
Chief Branning.
Aye.
Judge Guard.
Aye.
Chief Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Budnick.
Aye.
Ms. Zaragoza.
Aye.
Ms. Kumpian.
Aye.
Dr. Lai.
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion for agenda item E carries.
Thank you. And thank you. Moving on now to item F, determination of suitability for Camp Kilpatrick. We have Los Angeles County on the agenda, and I would again believe I'm looking to you, Chief Counsel.
And on this one, I believe Judge Guard will be recusing, and then I would look to Mr. Budnick to recuse as well. Why don't you leave?
Pardon? Are you letting him leave?
Well,
There he goes.
Yeah.
We will hang on to his computer to ensure a reappearance. I don't know if I'd go that way. It's kind of lonely. It's just a dead end. All right. guy's gonna do what his guy's gonna do. Thank you, thank you. And Judge Guard has, I can see, left the meeting virtually. Council.
Okay, good morning, everyone, again. This, as Executive Director McGuire noted during his report, our staff recommendation is going to change from what is reported on the agenda item due to some last minute updates that we received yesterday. So this agenda item requests that the board make a determination of suitability within the meaning of Welfare and Institutions Code, Section 209, subdivisions A4 and D for Campus Vernon Kilpatrick in the County of Los Angeles. And given new updates that BSCC staff received last night, we are recommending that the board defer the suitability determination until the next board meeting. Let me give you some background of where we're at. So as part of its plan to depopulate Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall, Los Angeles County Probation intended to move predispositioned female and gender expansive youth to CVK and operate it as a juvenile hall in addition to being operated as a camp and a secure youth treatment facility. This required the county to make some changes to the physical plant of the camp. For example, juvenile halls are required to have reception and intake areas, and it's my understanding CVK did not previously have this. Before breaking ground or moving youth in, the plans were required to be reviewed by the state fire marshal. And because CVK is a facility that was constructed with state lease revenue bonds, it was also required to obtain pre-opening inspections and clearances before moving in. Los Angeles proceeded with the construction without necessary plan approvals and moved youth into the facility on November 3rd, 2025, without obtaining any of the pre-opening inspections, approvals, or clearances. Changes to the physical plant included cutting into a fire-rated wall and installing observation window in the intake building, installing polycarbonate panels over existing windows in the cottages and dining halls, and remodeling a public restroom into a detention grade restroom with a shower. BSCC staff conducted an unannounced inspection on November 4th, 2025 to evaluate compliance with Title 24 and found 8 items of noncompliance. BSCC approved their corrective action plan on January 5th, 2026, and all outstanding items needed to be corrected no later than April 4th, 2026. On April 4th, LA provided written verification that all corrective actions had been completed except Section 13-201C4 and Section 13-201C6B1, which were the sections related to the state fire marshal clearance. On April 8th, BSCC staff began reinspection to verify completion of the CAP and were able to confirm that LA corrected 5 items of noncompliance, but 2 other items are still pending verification. Those 2 items are security glazing and public health and building official clearances. And those aren't before the board today. Re-inspections are continuing and those are pending verification. Because Los Angeles did not complete the CAP for all sections of Title 24 by April 4th, the board is required to determine if the facilities are suitable for the confinement of juveniles. So staff is recommending that the board make defer the suitability determination until the next board meeting. While the state fire marshal's timeline is out of the control of Los Angeles County, the department was aware and should have had its fire safety plans reviewed and approved before construction began and before youth moved in. Given the serious nature of these non-compliance issues as it deals with fire life safety, BSCC staff previously recommended that the board determine CVK is unsuitable until these Title 24 clearances are completed. However, late yesterday, we were informed by the state fire marshal that they conducted an on-site inspection of CVK yesterday And late last night, they issued a temporary certificate of occupancy. This temporary certificate of occupancy is conditional. This means that Los Angeles is required to provide a plan outlining how the remaining deficiencies related to fire doors and windows will be addressed, and they need to complete those necessary repairs within another 30 days. In the meantime, CVK is not permitted to occupy the intake room until the repairs are made and inspected. And if the repairs are not completed within the 30-day repair window, the state fire marshal will consider if all of the affected areas must be vacated. So that's the update that we received as of last night. So based on that, we recommend that the board defer the suitability determination until the next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for my own clarity, they have 30 days to outline the plan and an additional 30 days to make the corrections associated with it.
Correct. So it's about a 60-day timeline that we're looking at.
Okay. Any other members of the board wish to?
I have a question. But did you say that in 30 days they have to make it safe, but another, like what, how safe are they right now? And then the 30 days, I didn't quite get that.
I can't speak to the actual factual underlying fire safety. That's within the fire marshal's purview. But they have been issued a temporary certificate of occupancy. And so the first 30 days, they have to propose a correction plan to the state fire marshal. And then once that's approved, then they have the 30 days to make those repairs.
But that first 30 days, you're saying they don't have access to, I thought I heard you say they didn't have access to something. What was that piece?
Correct. So during this process, they cannot occupy the intake and reception area, which is one of the main areas that were affected to some of their construction plans. And so that structure can't be occupied until they receive fire clearance from the marshal.
Okay.
But just as a point of clarification, the temporary certificate that was issued by the fire marshal?
Correct. That was issued by them late last night.
And just for clarity, and so that although that area, the fire marshal is saying they have a temporary usage or at least a certificate, were they using that intake area prior to this fire inspection?
I believe so. They were using it and occupying it.
And so since this, they have since stopped, or will they continue? My question is, will they continue to use that area while we are deferring our determination of unsuitability?
Based on the direction from the state fire marshal, they are not to be using it.
Okay.
And if I might take a quick turn here in the proceedings, we have the communications manager and county council present from Los Angeles County. And if you would like to present on this item at all, please feel free to approach the dais.
Good morning, Chair Penner, board members. Jonathan McCaffrey with the Office of County Counsel. With me is Vicki Waters with the Probation Department Communications Director. Everything General Counsel Lyons said is accurate. I would add this morning, I also shared with Executive Director McGuire and Chief Counsel Lyons, the State Fire Marshal issued a permit. So we received the permit to begin construction, essentially. I don't want to get over my skis on talking about that too much, but we received a permit, which is one step further than just receiving the temporary certificate of occupancy, which received last night. And to your question, Chair Penner and Board Member Haynes, the intake unit is not being used.
It's not. We've already
consistent with the fire marshal's direction.
Correct. We've already identified a
Want to
separate
identify
room
yourself for the
and-
record, please?
Sorry, Vicki Waters, Communications Manager for the Probation Department. So we've already identified an alternate location at the facility to ensure that that work is going while we complete the work.
Thank you. Thank you very much for
You
that
mind
clarification.
remain with us for a moment while we
I have a
further
question.
questions or comments?
What area is that you're using instead?
We're going to be using one of the cottages that is not currently occupied at the moment. It's called Sycamore Cottage.
And you may or may not know, but in terms of fire safety, what was the issue? Was it specific? It's probably within the fire marshal's report. You may or may not know.
It is with the report, but if you take a look at it, whenever you're able to take a look at it, there were minor issues with a couple of windows and a door, I think. So we're working with the contractors to make sure that they're able to, I think, replace one of the doors and ensure that the windows have the correct safety materials on them.
Gotcha.
And the permit to do that was, again, just issued this morning, so it's ready
Correct.
to go. essentially.
And our team is already working on this. We've already put together a pretty comprehensive plan. So they're on this to make sure that it's completed before the 60-day timeframe if we're able to get the manufacturers to give us the materials.
Thank you.
Supervisor Capps.
And just to double down on the concern that I can tell everybody's sharing, I understand it's not going to be occupied, but is it certain that the residents aren't inadvertently going to be able to access it, the area? Like,
No,
is it
because that
secure?
intake area is separate from the cottages where they are housed. So it's in the administration building. So it's not in the area where they're able to access that.
Okay, and then is this, have we had any direct communication with the fire marshal, or is it just the report that we receive, or is it?
We've had direct communication with the fire marshal staff, and we received information and documentation of what the plan is moving forward for CBK.
Okay, thank you.
We've been sharing all of our communications with the state fire marshal. We've been sharing it with Mr. McGuire and Ms. Lyons.
Thank you so much.
And once again, LA has obviously been on our agenda a number of times. And in this instance with Kilpatrick, which is the first time you have come before this body on that facility, you had quite a long lead time to get the fire marshal into the facility. And it became very urgent towards the end of the timeline. And not to say I know what this board is going to do or not do, but you can see that people are dubious as to whether or not you'll accomplish what needs to be done prior to coming back before the board, should we allow this to go on. Any other comments on that?
I just want to thank both of you for being here again. Just like our other chief, you didn't have to be here. The fact that you are here is important to me. The fact that you're open yourself to questions is important. So thank you for being here.
Appreciate it, Chief.
I just have one more thing. Council Lyons, our next meeting, what's our next board meeting date?
I believe it's June
25th.
20. Thank you.
Okay.
June 25th.
So you know.
We're not counting or anything, but
No,
Right.
I want to be prepared, so I looked ahead.
yeah.
So it's after the 60-day window.
Okay, so we'll have time. That window of 60 days should have elapsed by then.
Correct.
And we're also happy to communicate with you guys directly on any updates, that significant updates. I know Lisa is always in communication with our office, so we're happy to do that communication as well.
Yeah, and we will
to address your comment, Chair Penner,
Yeah.
we do understand that there's always questions when it comes to our department. We really are trying to make sure that we are working with our partners. We're really trying to gain the public trust back in a lot of these issues that we're doing, and we hope that we're starting to build the road toward that. So that's very important to us, and we want to make sure that there's open communication and open flow of information coming.
Thank you. I'd invite you to stay for a moment, asking for any other questions, comments from anyone on the board. Looking now, Joanna, do we have anyone in the room that would like to have questions or comments?
Not in the room. Let me double check on Zoom.
Virtually?
Yes, we have one public comment.
Thank you.
Helen Eigenberg.
Helen, are you there?
Good morning. It's Helen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Helen Eigenberg again. I'm a resident of Los Angeles. The irony of listening to what's happening in Orange County versus what is happening in Los Angeles County cannot be lost here. The fact that the fire marshal up till last night had not provided clearance, and typically clearance is required before youth are moved into a facility, blows my mind up. How are we all okay with housing and caring for our youth in facilities that are still non-compliant, that we have staff working in these same non-compliant buildings? We never should have moved youth anywhere until each facility was compliant. What does this say to the parents of our youth that we take your kids and we put them into facilities we willingly know are not up to speed? We will put them there before they pass inspections. We would never allow a business, a commercial space, or residences to open up under these violations. This has all been just obscenely dragged out. The timeline is a disgrace. And these kids never should have been moved into any facility before it was compliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more public comments at this moment.
Thank you. Back to the,
Chair Penner, there's one more right now.
okay.
Nancy Juarez.
Thank you. Nancy?
Nancy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nancy Juarez with the Center on Juvenile and Criminal Justice. We have been here so many times before. Family members have been here so many times before. Young people have been here so many times before. So many issues had come up when Los Padrinos had been, the young people moved without any notice, done so, taken from their routine, from their items, without items being replaced, their family members not knowing what's going on, what number to call. For facilities, for this to happen again, and for facilities to continue to operate under the conditions that they're in, to have break fire marshal code and housing young people in those conditions repeatedly and waiting again until June 25th to address this issue. I'm at a loss for words, and California can do a lot better than this. And I hope that folks are watching and seeing these meetings and seeing what's going on in LA, because it's not just Los Angeles, this is happening across California. And I hope that Los Angeles can be that light to shine on what's going on truly in our facilities with the youth under the state's care. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Yusuf Miller. Mr. Miller.
Yes, Brianna, will you close the queue? Thank you. Yusuf? Yusuf?
Yusuf, are you still on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it took a while for the unmute thing to come up. All right, so Yusuf Miller, and now here we are on the opposite end where we went from celebration to a youth detention to this where our youth are not even safe in the fire code. It's something that needs to be addressed right away. It's something that we've been dealing with in LA County for a very long time, and the safety of our youth, the fair treatment of our youth, the accessibility to programs in our youth. This is absolutely unacceptable. And as my fellow activists have said, Helen and Nancy and everybody else who's listening, that this is unacceptable, and the dangers and the hazards. We do not want to wait until something happens for us to force facilities to get their act together. We need to do this double time for the sake of the youth. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more comments.
I'm sorry?
There are no more comments.
Thank you. And back to the board, and I'll just kick this off by saying this. Certainly, staff and the board had a great deal of frustration that we find ourselves here again with LA. With all of that said, the state fire marshal, I believe, has provided the provisions wherein the youth at Kilpatrick are safe. We certainly are not ducking that obligation or responsibility. This board simply would not do that, and I speak for every one of us on the dais today. I understand the public's frustration, and I hope that nuanced piece that we are confident that state fire marshal would not have bent over backwards to find them in compliance or make them suitable. They have a job to do, and if anybody's dealt with the state fire marshal, they do not do it by being easily swayed by a conversation. They actually have to have the facts and all things in place before they leave a facility. Anyone else on the board wish to?
I have a question, not for county council, but for our general counsel. For those of us that are following along closely in LA County, we know that both the Board of Supervisors there and the Probation Oversight Commission have flagged the serious staffing concerns at Campus Kilpatrick. And although that is not an item for us to discuss today, is there any information you all can give us if this is something that we're going to see, that we already maybe see on the horizon?
Yes. So as Executive Director McGuire mentioned during his report, separate from these fire clearance issues, our field rep went out there and in March, and based on that unannounced inspection, found I believe 4 areas of noncompliance, including staffing, that we provided an initial inspection report to Los Angeles, I believe last Monday or last Friday, excuse me. And so they are now entering a new CAP process for those issues. I believe it's staffing, use of force, use of restraints, and programs, recreation, and exercise. So for those 4 areas, they're entering a new CAP process. And so their CAP approval date, I believe, is June 9th, and their maximum resolution date is September 7th of this year. And so those issues will come before the board. Likely at the next June meeting, the board will have to vote to approve the CAP that they will submit a couple weeks prior to the next board meeting. So these are ongoing issues, and we can obviously provide the board with a copy of the initial inspection report that we've issued so far to provide more insight onto the factual basis on those non-compliance issues that we found.
Thank you. You're satisfied with that answer?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the board? Questions, comments? I believe, yes.
I'm sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
have
I'm
one more.
sorry. Sorry.
I'm still a little on the fire hazard thing. So if the fire marshal does not find it in that 30 days, then what happens?
Sure. So the first 30 days is their LA's opportunity to create and present a plan on how to make corrections. And then the second 30-day window is to make those corrections.
And then if they don't, that'll be before our meeting, right?
Correct.
So then what happens at the end of that? What happens right there before our meeting, which would be like May? Then what happens? If it's yes, obviously, and then if it's no, then what happens?
Yeah, I think
so. If they make the corrections and the state fire marshal verifies it on inspection and clear them, then that's the end of this issue. If they do not make the corrections to the fire marshal's inspections, and the fire marshal then can determine whether those areas need to be vacated, and I believe it's immediately, but I don't know. So it triggers something under the state fire marshal's purview to require non-occupancy of those affected areas. So I believe it's the intake reception area, the dining commons, and then the cottages.
But so, yeah, so if it's just those
let me ask you
areas,
this.
that's my
Well, yes, because in this interim 30 plus 30-day period, here's your plan, here's what you're actually doing. What I heard earlier is that they would not occupy any of those areas regardless.
They've only been directed not to occupy the intake. So while there were products used and other construction things used on structures apart from the intake and reception, I understand that the directive from the fire marshal to not occupy only refers to the intake structure. So the cottages and the dining hall are still permitted to be under use under the temporary certificate of occupancy, is my understanding.
well, I don't want to put words in the fire marshal's mouth, but is the assumption that they are safe in the areas they are allowed to continue occupying?
Presumably, if they issued the temporary certificate of occupancy, that's the analysis that they did in their inspection yesterday. I can't speak to that underlying expertise, but they've issued the temporary certificate of occupancy pending this corrective process. And the only structure I understand that they were directed not to occupy is the intake structure.
And then that's the only one that they would close down if they don't pass after the 60 days. You're not saying they would close the whole camp and the cottages. You're saying they would only close the intake. That's the only thing under discussion.
I'm actually not clear on that.
Okay.
Of what is subject to closure if they do not make the necessary corrections.
Right, because I'm assuming these are under Title 24 regulations for that specific building of that entire facility. And so I guess the question is, if one of those buildings in that facility is found to be out of compliance with the fire marshal, would LA still be in compliance? Let's say they can't fix it at all. So would that facility, the entire facility, Kirkpatrick, be in compliance if this one intake area was not?
Under Title 24, I don't believe so, because it would apply to like the entire facility. So that's a closer look. We could take a closer look
Please,
when
I
we
would
get
appreciate
there,
that.
based on what the fire marshal provides clearance for. But it may, in terms of our purview, which is Title 24 compliance, it may implicate the entire facility. It may not. So I think it's a closer look once the fire marshal makes their determination.
I would add the other wrinkle about that would be is they're only required to have the intake reception center for if they're operating as a juvenile hall. And so if they're not able to do that and they have a certificate of occupancy for the rest of the campus, it could still be operated as a camp. And then we'll have to have a discussion about what that then means. So,
but today they're using it as some kind of intake as if it's a detention facility.
Right.
Right.
They are jerry-rigging it, right?
Right.
Using a cottage, I believe.
Okay.
And if this matter, if in fact we adopted deferring suitability at this time until the June meeting, and need be, if we find out they're not in compliance with the fire marshal before that June meeting, we have to make some decisions about how quickly we were going to meet. The board then finds themselves right back where we are today. It's slightly troubling in that this deference doesn't give us a clear message about the rest of the facility. Am I accurate?
I think that's accurate. The specific Title 24 section that is before the board has to do with whether LA has the fire clearance. And as of late last night, they technically have the fire clearance, which is the temporary certificate of occupancy.
So technically speaking, the fire marshal has given them clearance, and we are not in a position as a board to slice and dice that authority of the fire marshal. I think that's a fair statement to sort of put to rest where we are today, and a conversation down the road should we need to have it.
That's correct.
If I can add to the safety part of it, because I can see it's a big concern, there's two issues to consider. One is that our team worked with the fire marshals to give them pretty much schematics of the entire institutions. They brought up certain issues with the particular areas that are being called out in their particular report. And so those were like I said, it's one room and a couple of windows and a door. So it's not the entire facility. My understanding is that they went through the schematics of the entire facility and were good with how those looked and how they met the state fire marshal standards. I also will say that when the improvements to the facility started being made before we moved the females in, there was a little bit of, I think, confusion of which fire authority had jurisdiction over the facility. So I know that we also worked with some locals before our understanding became that it was the state fire marshal's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But the local fire officials did also deem the facility safe.
And I would
that makes
counter
sense.
that with saying there was zero confusion on our part. And we had conversations with
Absolutely.
LA County definitively talking about the fire marshal approval. So not to really beat that to death. I just want to ensure you that in no way, shape, or form did we think the local authorities could approve that. Back to the board. Hearing nothing from the board, I believe as it stands now, we're asking a recommendation of deferring the suitability of Camp Kilpatrick until the June 25th meeting. Are we including in that recommendation any consideration of meeting earlier should they be out of compliance prior to that June 25th date?
The board can decide if we want to reconvene for a special session prior to the next board meeting. That's up to the discretion of the board.
Well, let me say this as board chair. I have very strongly held convictions that I will not carry the load for LA one day. And as soon as this deferred plan meets its end, and if they are not in compliance, we would try very hard to special set. And I'd ask for the board's consideration in that.
I would be agreeable to that, Chair Penner. I think to give time, give deference to the fire marshal and the work that they've done. I mean, they're the ones who have, working with our staff that are there on site to be able to at least give that opportunity through the oversight of the state fire marshal. I would be agreeable.
Council? Sorry.
So the decision for us right now is to put together a special session in the event that the 60-day window closes with no positive change.
Right.
Okay. I'd be in favor.
And for clarity, so I think the gap between their 60-day corrective action period at the next board meeting is I think like a week or so. So that's the window we're looking at until our next board meeting.
Well, I think you can hear the recommendation of the board, and we don't need to adopt that in any way, shape, or form. I think the message is clear. With that said, I'm looking for a motion and a second to defer suitability for LA County Camp Kilpatrick. I think we can still say until the next board meeting, sooner if need be. That's as official as it gets, Aaron. How'd you like it? Need be is a very legal term, I think.
I think that's sufficient,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Okay. Joanna, would you take the roll?
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor,
Aye.
Sheriff Clark,
I
Aye.
apologize. Hold the phone, please. We need a motion in a second.
I'll move.
Thank you.
okay.
Joanna, you want to restart again
Start
based
over.
on the chair's error?
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor,
Aye.
Sheriff Clark,
Aye.
Supervisor Capps,
Aye.
Chief Haynes,
Aye.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Ms. Zaragoza, Ms. Kumpian,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion carries.
Okay. And thank you for being present in your comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Moving on now to item,
Madam Chair, we need to bring back,
we're looking for Scott Budnick. Whoever finds him, it's like a little Easter egg hunt. There he is.
we are also waiting for Judge Guard to rejoin.
Okay. Somebody reaching out to her? Thank you. I see her on the phone.
She's back on.
Welcome back, Judge Guard. Moving on now to item G, STC training cost policy. We're requesting approval, and there is Casey ready to present on this item. Thank you for being with us, and take it.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. Agenda item G summarizes STC's review of the current tuition policy and requests the board's approval to transition to a more comprehensive training cost policy, which includes an increase to the maximum amount that training providers may charge for STC certified courses. As shown in attachment 1, the current tuition policy has capped allowable course costs to $150 per trainee per 8-hour day since November of 2020. Over the past several years, STC has received feedback from training providers that this rate no longer reflects the actual cost of training delivery due to rising operational expenses. And both providers and agencies have expressed confusion about which expenses are included within tuition. Attachment 2 summarizes STC's comprehensive review aimed at assessing the current tuition policy and identifying any necessary adjustments. The review included surveys of training providers and participating agencies, an examination of historical tuition rates, training fund allocations and spending patterns, and an assessment of comparable training cost data from other public sector training agencies. The review highlighted several overarching observations about the current policy's impact. First, the existing allowable rate no longer reflects the cost of comparable public sector training, which typically ranges from $27 to $36 per hour. Rising travel, insurance, instructional materials, and instructor costs have made it difficult for training providers to offer courses within the existing rate. Agencies report that although the maximum allowable rate offers budget predictability, many would use courses priced above it, and most depend on additional funding streams to meet the training requirements. The assessment also confirmed widespread confusion about what costs should be included in tuition. And it also underscored a structural challenge. STC is not a party to the financial transactions between the agencies and the training providers, and we can only identify non-compliance when issues surface incidentally or reported. These themes indicate that the current structure needs both immediate updates and a longer-term shift away from STC's cost-setting role. In response, staff are asking the board to approve 4 recommendations. 1, adopt a single inclusive maximum training cost rate that includes all course delivery expenses and eliminates distinctions between cost types. 2, effective July 1st of this year, set the maximum training cost rate at $28.75 per hour, which is $230 per 8-hour day to align with current cost realities. And then 3, effective July 1st, 2027, eliminate the maximum training cost rate entirely, allowing agencies and providers to negotiate pricing directly based on the need, value, and market conditions. To implement this recommendation, we're asking that you authorize staff to begin the rulemaking process to update Title 15 accordingly. And if no substantive changes arise during public comment, to proceed with the final rulemaking package. Thank you, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Casey. Yes.
Thank you for your presentation. I just want to bring a little context to this for me anyway, and I'm sure Sheriff Clark as well. Our county has cut training and travel as far as our budget deficit is concerned. And why that is troubling as the sheriff is that if you've heard in this room over and over and over again about staffing and retention, the turnover in this industry, and I'm sure probation as well, is incredible. We're struggling to bring staff in, and when we're bringing them in, we're bringing in large numbers of young deputy sheriffs, young correctional officers, and young probation officers. By us not having the ability to train them and have ongoing training, I can't help but think that that has something to do with the items of noncompliance and the mistakes that are being made. So I appreciate these funding streams are so important, especially for local jurisdictions like my small county, to to be able to have reimbursable training, for us to be able to get our staff to the training and make sure that they're compliant is incredibly important, even though we're all cash strapped, including the state of California. It's not an easy ask to raise these rates, but it is so necessary. And even at this, it's not going to cover it 100%, but it's a step in the right direction. So thank you for your work.
And I just want to add just a couple things and totally echo what Sheriff Taylor mentioned. I mean, the only way to navigate these high risk, high liability areas on behalf of our staff is to have sufficient training. It's the only way to go through. It's the only way to navigate that. And just looking at, as Sheriff Taylor mentioned, the economic reality of every county in the state, and just the shortage of funding, across the board, but especially where it affects training, I think this makes complete sense. I'm totally in support of it. I think it's absolutely needed.
I would absolutely support and agree to the sheriffs and as we look at both of our industries and the required training, which is, as we've seen, realities of shifted responsibilities from the state down to the locals, and just the culture that we've seen and change over the last 20 years of how we deliver services. And notwithstanding the, tough to be able to recruit and retain staff, I think the other thing that's telling, and I really appreciate the work that you did to take up the tuition policy review, but I did make note on page 6 under table 2, the funding allocation that jurisdictions have received since 2000, I'd say since 2020, 1920, we've not received, when I say we, those agencies that receive STC funding that they use for training, we've not received any additional allocation, although the responsibility for what we've been doing has really been enhanced based on, and it's absolutely the right thing to do for us to be able to provide quality training. But when we're not being supported, I should say, at the state level for increases, and so that we can provide quality training, but to be able to provide the providers with this, additional funding, what we may see, although the providers are being given the opportunity to charge what they should based on the economic realities of what we are today, departments still have to work with the same amount of funding. So just something that we just need to keep an eye on when we work with the state on that. But thank you so much.
Yeah,
Madam Chair, can I have one last comment? Yes. Sorry. I also want to point out this last thing, that I said that our county has cut training and travel, and that's true. And then they always will give us the caveat that if it's mandatory minimum training, they'll consider it or they'll fund it. Why on earth are we shooting for minimums in this state? Nobody in the public should want us to just barely make minimum standards. We've seen that in these facilities. We've seen it in we're giving young people guns and badges and fast cars, and we're housing children in confinement, and we have people held captive in buildings that are underfunded, and it's wrong. So we should not, as a state, be shooting for the minimum standard. We should try to be always exceeding that, and this is a big step in that direction. I just wanted to make that last comment, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would suggest to each of you, and I think all the sheriffs on this board, as well as the probation chiefs, know that training is never in county kept to a minimum standard. Every one of these jurisdictions is going above and beyond the minimum standard, and we very much appreciate that. And in reference to your remarks, Chief Haynes, we need to level the playing field on that. And finally, Casey Warmoth wears 2 hats in our agency, and we tease her a lot. She's our researcher, and then she's a deputy director of standard and training for the state of California. And she is the one who unearthed this. And how long has this policy been in place? I mean, talk about not keeping up with the economics. Yeah. A long time. And I just want to give kudos to her, because a positive reaction from the field on, sort of taking the lid off these costs is helpful. There's a lot more heavy lifting that needs to happen out there, but I appreciate her finding this and addressing it. Any other things from the board? Yes.
Just a quick question. I think the direction that this is moving is great. I am in total support of more training and learning and growth. I did have a question about the third recommendation in terms of eliminating the maximum training cost, what was the impetus for that? And I'm curious if there's going to be some kind of cap, or is the policy, starting July 2027 going to be there's no cap on any of the training that's approved, or how is that going to work?
So correct. In July 2027, the proposal is no cap. We will be giving TA to the participating agencies that they really need to negotiate the rates with training providers and make sure that they're assessing the value in terms of the outcomes that they're receiving. And it's really a proposal to put it back into the hands of the providers and the agencies using them, and then also allow the market to set the conditions so that we don't have training providers waiting 6 years for us to adjust rates for inflation.
I guess my question is about if there's a budget pool for this, or if, any of the, if everybody can be requesting all of the training, if the costs will skyrocket, or, just how that will be.
Yeah, it's certainly something that we can keep an eye on as things get implemented. The funding pool is the page 6 funds that Chief Haynes mentioned have not been increased, but that is not something that we can address right now.
So, Dr. Lai, what I would imagine would happen over the next few years, I like having the autonomy to be able to negotiate with trainers, but it's a reality that, training dollars even for them and the ability to attract good trainers to be able to do the work, it costs more. And then every year it costs more. And so, but while that training cost for that individual provider is going to go up, as we see, we've been sitting stagnant for 7 years. So we'll see either a reduction in the amount of training that we can do that's quality, or hopefully we'll be able to get some additional funding from the state to keep track.
Seeing nothing from the board further on this item, I reach out to you, Joanna, and see, are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this issue?
Yes, we have Lee Comer who's in person.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to thank Casey for such a comprehensive tuition fee structure review. It was really thorough. And as a provider, I've been a STC training provider for 25 years. And I just wanted to underscore this need to increase the rates. One of the issues in the admin services, or the admin portion of it, is insurance. And it may not be a well-known fact, but we're getting clobbered in insurance, professional insurance and general liability insurance, cyber security insurance. And these costs aren't reflected in our $150. But the other thing that's very important is the amount of money we're paying the actual instructors to retain talent and keep them motivated. You have to pay them. And all of these things add up. I could go through and list, but I don't want to bore you with the minutia. But it does add up. Just the shipping, the printing, the gas, the lodging, the flights. It really does add up. And increasing the rates is actually a matter of solvency at this point. We can't really go on at this rate. And that's why I came to tell you that it's really a matter of being able to go on at this rate. And so I leave it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, would you identify yourself for the record?
Yes, my name is Lee Comer from Custom Training.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for your remarks. Anybody else in the room or in the virtual meeting room?
Madam Chair, there are no more public comment for this.
Back to the board. I would look for a motion and second, because I remembered to do that this time.
Motion.
Second.
Second, I have a motion and a second to adopt the recommendation of staff. Joanna?
Chair Penner?
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor?
Aye.
Sheriff Clark?
Aye.
Supervisor Capps?
Aye.
Chief Haynes?
Aye.
Chief Branning?
Aye.
Judge Guard?
Aye.
Chief Scott? Chief Scott,
Aye. Sorry.
Mr. Budnick,
Aye.
Ms. Zaragoza,
Aye.
Ms. Kumpian,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion carries.
Microphone.
They probably just thought I talked too long and turned it off because I didn't touch that thing. Yeah, you did it. Butnick is in my business again. On to the last formal agenda item, local detention facility inspection update. This is information only, and I see Steve Wicklander joining us at the podium.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, community members, and colleagues. I'm Stephen Wicklander, the Deputy Director for Facilities, Standards and Operations and County Facilities Construction Divisions. I'm here this afternoon to provide a regular update on the status of our facility inspections and outstanding items of noncompliance. You have copies of the reports, and the information is also available online in the agenda. The 2025-2026 inspection cycle began on January 1st of 2025 and will conclude on December 31st of 2026. On January 1st of 2026, the FSO juvenile and adult teams began targeted and unannounced inspections, and the FSO adult team also started their comprehensive inspections of type 1 and temporary holding facilities throughout the state. Thus far, the FSO adult team has completed 60 comprehensive inspections of type 1 and temporary holding facilities, 14 targeted inspections on type 2 and type 3 facilities, 8 unannounced inspections, and 38 pre-inspection briefs. The FSO teams continues to work closely with the agencies to address and resolve the current outstanding items of noncompliance, and at this time, none of the outstandings rise to the level to warrant a request from the sheriff to appear before the board at this time. Moving on to the juvenile facility inspections, the FSO juvenile team has completed 16 comprehensive inspections, 35 targeted inspections, 3 unannounced inspections, and 61 pre-inspection briefs, and has 23 scheduled pre-inspection briefs of juvenile facilities. The FSO juvenile team continues to follow up with agencies to resolve non-compliant issues identified in their corrective action plans. This concludes my formal presentation at this time. I would also like to take a moment and thank Lisa for all of her hard work that she's done throughout the counties and coming to the board meetings. And then I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments from board members on this item? Any questions or comments, public, either virtually or in person?
I see no public comments in the virtual realm.
Okay. And this is information only. Thank you, Mr. Wicklander. Moving on now to item 5 on our agenda, which is public comment. This is the time allotted on the agenda for any member of the public to comment on any item, be it on the agenda or not on the agenda. And we're happy to hear you at this time.
We have an in-person comment, Marcel Hilliard.
Welcome, Marcel.
First time for BSCC. So I'm here to advocate for the MTC electric buses, but I think I'm in the wrong room.
You are.
Just kidding.
Oh,
just wanted to be polite and stay in.
it's a win
the whole
for
time.
Marcel. You did it. Who would speak
Just
to that
kidding,
at this
just
point, Marcel? Okay. He
Just
had
kidding.
me. I was going to go, you're in the wrong room.
Take the rest I just wanted to be polite, I didn't want to leave. But seriously, good morning. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Marcel Hilliard. I'm with a company called Court Systems based in Los Angeles. We focus on supporting agencies with illicit cannabis enforcement and field operations. Across California, we're seeing a troubling trend. Licensed dispensaries are closing while illicit operations continue to expand. So despite significant investment in enforcement, the current approach often disrupts individual sites without dismantling the systems that allow them to persist. So in our conversations with agencies preparing for Prop 64 funding, it's became clear that the challenge is not a lack of effort. The challenge is really a fragmentation. Critical data on identifying and prioritizing illicit operations exist, but it isn't consistently connected or actionable. Because of this, enforcement remains challenging and reactive. Operations simply shift or reappear faster than they can be disrupted. We've been synthesizing feedback across 170 police departments and 26 counties to identify those intelligence gaps that are hindering long-term success. We are looking at what actually leads to durable enforcement outcomes versus temporary solutions. I'd appreciate the opportunity to share the early patterns we're seeing across the state and discuss where targeted data-driven approaches can make a measurable difference for the agencies that you collaborate with. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And we're going to get you back for that little stinker you pulled early.
For sure.
Do we have anybody virtually? Sorry, John.
We have Stacy Burns.
Stacy?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I actually wanted to encourage you to push. I want to address the draft regulations for the revisions for Titles 15 and 24. And it looks like all the hard substantive work has been done there, and in this really important area of creating alignment within the regulations. And this is really important to the youth, as I know you all appreciate. But it looks like all the substantive work has been done and that we have just in a bit of a logistical quagmire. So I just wanted to really encourage you all to do everything that you can to corral the necessary people to make sure that they get the quorums and the participation that needs to be done so that this can just be pushed across the finish line in the near term. Rather, and I understand logistics can be as challenging as the substantive work sometimes, but it would just be a shame not to see this important work kind of pushed forward as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Helen Eigenberg.
And then I'd request you close the queue. Helen?
Hi, it's Helen Eigenberg again, resident in Los Angeles. And, I've done my best to really understand what is happening in Los Angeles. And it's really hard. And it's hard to watch even the state move as slow as it seems at times in the care and the rehabilitation of the youth in our county. And I also learned about the BSCC's juvenile regulations revisions regarding Title 15 and 24, whose goal we know is to ensure care and safety and programming for our youth. It's not been finalized. And it was expected to be completed in 2026. And it was expected to be completed in 2023, and it's now 2026. What is happening? So please, you're given the task to write the regulations to ensure our youth are safe, cared for, and have quality programming. And the leadership needs to get it together and finalize this. This is so unacceptable. I'm seriously beginning to doubt that we will ever put these youth front and center and provide them with the best rehabilitation. And I know that we are capable of doing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
The queue is closed, Madam Chair.
Yeah, and I would just circle around a little bit to the last subject matter raised by our two public comments on the regs revision process. It has been painfully long. We are working hard. There have been hundreds of people involved in that process, and I can assure you that it will actually be finalized. We will not let this linger on indefinitely, although it's been a hard slog, and I won't even ask Executive Director McGuire to say more unless he wants to.
Yeah, I would just note and thank you for the reg staff who have been diligently trying to come up with some additional dates. It's been, I think the public person commented logistical quagmire. We are trying to get through it, Madam Chair. We'll come back soon.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I'm sorry. How can we as a body keep a closer eye on the progress there? I personally was a member of the education committee, and it kind of, we met diligently at the beginning, and then it kind of just went into an abyss. There have been no updates. So is there any way that we can agendize this item to get more clarity and to help kind of move those meetings along?
I think we can have that discussion.
Yeah, I think it can easily become part of the information items that Executive Director presents at the beginning of the meeting, and I understand your frustration. We have frustration.
Yeah, and as the chair for the ESC, I just want to say thank you to the staff who've been working with me to be able to try to pull the group back together. I know we've not met for a few months, and so we're working together to try to come up with some dates to try to get through the process. But it's been tough, even as we've had everyone sitting at the table to get through the logistics of getting through the regs have been they've just been taking a while. So yeah, it's going to take several meetings, but we do need to get back together. But thank you for the support and a good idea to keep it on the board's agenda.
Yeah, I think that's a fair request. Anything further from the board on any item? Seeing none, we are at a portion of the meeting that we reserved for closed session. I believe Executive Director McGuire and Chief Counsel alluded to the fact that we would not have that today. And in preparation for adjourning this meeting, let me once again thank Supervisor Capps for being an amazing hostess. And we really did enjoy participating in that other meeting, whatever it was, for the first half hour of this meeting. I thought it went really well. It was a little tense, but we got through it. That's right. That's right. That's right. We'll see the liquor buses, and we'll see you all again on June 25th. Thank you for your travels and your participation, and have a good month and a half. All right. All right. Meeting's adjourned.